If you're anything like me, you probably set goals or resolutions for the new year. Maybe you created a vision board or a new screensaver to keep those resolutions front and center. Every January, millions of us feel that spark, the urge to reset, reimagine, and resolve to do better. But why is January the unofficial starting line for fresh starts? What makes this month the month to take the mantra of New Year, New Me? It turns out that tradition is far older and far more culturally rich than you might think. From ancient Babylonian rituals to the rise of self help culture, the history of New Year's resolutions is a fascinating tale of our hope, discipline, and reinvention. Welcome to the For the Culture Files, where we're diving into all the things that make us stop, think, laugh, and sometimes scratch our heads. From the big cultural moments shaping our world to the everyday quirks of life that just make you go, wait, what? We're unpacking it all right here. The idea of resolutions can be traced back 4,000 years to ancient Babylonia. Around 2000 BCE, the Babylonians celebrated their new year. Not in January, though, in March during the spring equinox. Their festival, Akitu, lasted 12 days and was deeply tied to their agricultural calendar. During Akitu, they made promises to their gods, pledging to repay debts and return borrowed items as a way to curry favor for the year ahead. Late in the first millennia BC, a Babylonian king publicly vowed to be a better ruler. Unlike previous promises to the gods, this was a public declaration to do better. While there's debate among scholars on whether this actually occurred or was a story among the priestly class, it would be the beginning of what we now know as the New Year's resolution. Centuries later, the Romans would adopt a similar custom, tying their resolutions to the new month of January. Named after Janus, the Roman god of beginnings, transition, and duality, January was seen as a time to reflect on the past and look ahead. Statues of Janus depicted him with two faces, one looking back and the other forward. Romans made sacrifices to Janus and offered promises of good conduct for the coming year. This early emphasis on resolutions wasn't about personal achievement. It was communal, spiritual, and tied to societal obligations, and it reflected a collective hope for stability and prosperity. For much of history, resolutions remained rooted in religious and communal practices. It wasn't until the 18th century that they began to resemble the personal goals that we think of today. In England, Protestant influences encouraged self-improvement as a moral duty. Personal diaries from that time period often include New Year entries outlining intentions to work harder, be kinder, or avoid sin. In the States, resolutions continued their religious undertones, with people pledging things like abstaining from alcohol and frequently using phrases such as, I resolve myself, or I'm resolved to do. Theologian Jonathan Edwards created no less than 70 resolutions, including the pledge to stop gossiping. By the early 20th century, resolutions had become more secular and aligned with the rise of modern individualism. The explosion of self-help books reframed resolutions as tools for personal growth. Titles like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People in 1936 and Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich in 1937 urged readers to take control of their destinies by setting clear, actionable goals. We also started to recognize that resolutions were really hard to keep. This shift reflected a broader cultural change from communal values to personal ambition. The idea of self-reinvention became a hallmark of modernity, and New Year's resolutions were a natural fit. But why do we still feel so compelled to set resolutions at the start of a new year? Psychologists point to several factors. One, temporal landmarks. The new year acts as a psychological fresh start, making us feel more motivated to break old habits and adopt new ones. There's also this power of hope. Resolutions tap into our innate optimism. They allow us to envision a better version of ourselves, even if we failed before. And there's also the power of social accountability. The collective nature of New Year's resolutions, where almost everyone seems to be setting goals, creates a sense of shared purpose and motivation. Yet, as hopeful as we are in January, the statistics are sombering. Most resolutions will fail by mid February. This isn't because we're lazy or unmotivated, it's because changing behavior is incredibly challenging. Today, resolutions are as much a cultural phenomenon as they are a personal ritual. Fitness companies will launch ad campaigns in December's, capitalizing on the new year, new you energy. And social media is flooded with vision boards and goal setting templates and hashtag resolution posts. But there's also a growing pushback against the pressure of setting resolutions. Many people are opting instead for alternatives like choosing a word of the year or setting intentions rather than rigid goals. This shift reflects a broader critique of hustle culture and the unrealistic expectations we place on ourselves. From ancient Babylonia to Instagram, the tradition of New Year's resolutions has evolved dramatically. But the core idea remains the same: hope. It's about believing we can do better, be better, and create a brighter future. So, what's your relationship with resolutions? Do you love them, hate them, or do you fall somewhere in between? Thank you so much for watching. If today's video got you thinking, laughing, or nodding along, let me know in the comments. I love to hear your thoughts. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed it. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the For the Culture Files family by clicking that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss a single upload.